Hello everyone, Joshua Myers here, and today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free review of Spider-Man Far From Home.
The whole world is looking for the next Iron Man. I don't know if I can live up to that.
I don't think Tony would have done what he did if he didn't know that you were going to be here after he was gone.
We have a job to do. You're coming with us?
Can you give that to MJ in case something happens to me?
Nothing's gonna happen to you. You got this.
Stark made you an Avenger. The world needs that.
So recently, me, Abe, and Che just went to see Spider-Man Far From Home in the theaters. Now the plot surrounds Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, and him and his classmates are actually going on a field trip to, well, the UK actually. They're going to places like Venice, Paris, all that stuff, and during that trip, Peter is going to try to basically confess his feelings for MJ, and at the same time you get these creatures that attack based on the elements water, earth, and fire, known in this movie as the elementals. So Nick Fury gets a hold of Spider-Man, tells him that he has to help stop this, and who is there to help stop this with him? None other than Quentin Beck Mysterio, portrayed by Jake Gyllenhaal. So coming into this film, I thought it was going to be an okay movie, just like with the last one. Nothing spectacular, nothing great, just okay. And honestly, I think this was a better Spider-Man movie than the last one. This was the first time with this MCU Spider-Man I truly felt like it was a real Spider-Man movie. Because here's the thing, I grew up with the Sam Raimi movies. And even though I really dislike Spider-Man 3, I still like it fine. You know, it's not as awful as everybody says it is. There's still some good moments with that film. But yeah, I kind of enjoy all the Sam Raimi movies. So yeah, and I just really love this movie. It kind of made me look back to when I saw like Spider-Man 2 in the theater, and it was just so good actually. Now, I will say this, there are still problems with this movie. Like, I still think it should have been much more of a Spider-Man movie, because to me it just feels like a high school romance, rom-com, in disguised as a superhero movie. Kind of like how the first one was, and yeah, but this time they actually like do some stuff with the character Peter Parker, and they literally shit on his character quite a bit, which is something that is known of the Peter Parker character. It's what made you relate to him, and it's like, hey, it's almost like, hey, he's going through the same problems as I've been in school and that. It's like, who hasn't been through these problems? I know I have. Although not as bad, I will say. Not as bad as Peter Parker, but I have encountered some of those problems in school, so I know the feeling. Yeah, and honestly, I think all the characters are pretty good for the most part. Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio is really good. Nick Fury, for the most part, was pretty good. A lot of people were saying he was like too cruel in that. Honestly, I didn't saw that. To me, it just seemed like Samuel Jackson actually doing Samuel Jackson. Also, I thought it was like the whole like kind of potential romance blooming between Peter's Aunt May and Happy Hogan was pretty funny actually. Also, I kind of like the romance between Peter and MJ, actually. Thought they were good together in this film. Although I kind of would have liked to know what led them to be all like this from the last movie. Because I got no sense of that in the last film, so it would be kind of nice if they could fill in those dots a bit in this movie. Like, how they got this close to each other. But, yeah. But other than that, I think they work pretty well. Their chemistry is really good with it. Also, the effects are so good. In fact, I think the effects in this movie is better than the last one. And in fact, the stuff with like Hydro Man and Molten Man and that, especially Hydro Man, kind of made me remember the effects they did in Spider-Man 3 with Sandman. Which those effects are still really good to this day. And I'm like, I cannot wait to see what they could do eventually with characters like Hydro Man and Molten Man, like, and now I got to see that, and it was awesome. And if that other creature was meant to be Sandman, honestly, I don't think those effects look good, honestly, and I honestly prefer how Sandman looked and all that stuff in Spider-Man 3 than in this movie, if that's what that creature was supposed to be. So yeah, and the action scenes I think were actually better in this film than the last one. There was a lot more of them, and it just felt a lot more faster paced, so... Now, what I didn't like. Now, here's the thing. I actually did like Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, but, a little bit of spoilers here, and it's like, if you know the comics, if you know the character Mysterio, it's not going to be of any surprise to you that turns out, whoop-de-doo, he is a villain. So, and honestly, the way they handle him as a villain, I mean, I do like all the illusion effects they pull for him. It's almost what I wanted to see out of this character. But I would still say that Michael Keaton as the Vulture is honestly a better character than Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio. So I think they handled Michael Keaton's character way better than Jake Gyllenhaal's character, honestly. But I still enjoyed Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. I really did. I just think Michael Keaton's The Vulture was a little bit better. So I'm going to give Spider-Man Far From Home a 4 out of 5 stars. It's not perfect. But it's still a really damn good movie. I highly recommend it. So that's it for today, folks. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.